Okay, hey everybody. Uh, my channel is just one old man's opinion. That's all. Just my opinion. I always had a short video about athleticism and the NBA and how their journalism and their journalists look at athleticism. I'm not a real big NBA fan, never was. Now, there's NBA players that I am a fan of, and I'll mention some of them. But I always looked at the NBA, when you look at college basketball or high school basketball, scoring is like the NBA. They talk about defense. You know, there's one ex-Dallas dude that said defense wins championships. Well, that's possible. You need defense, there's no doubt about that. But every time I've seen the NBA when I was younger, growing up and things, I've seen the scores of the NBA is like, what defense? You're scoring 100, 120, 130, 140, 150. Where's the defense? You got shooters. My goodness, you got shooters all over the floor. But anyway, that's just my opinion. But my wife and son was real NBA fans and they basketball fans, and you know, so they like to watch basketball. So I watched basketball. And, NBA was kind of like, for me, watching baseball. Just good to lay down and take a nap by. But anyway, got a little bit interested in it as time went on, and I listened to their NBA journalists and their journalism about athleticism. And I wondered, how do they gauge athleticism? And I say that because they took one guy in the sport that I could see and basically put him in a category all his own, and they ridiculed him for his weight and his speed. Now let me read something to you. This is, I looked up the definition of athleticism, and this is what it says. There's four main categories it goes in. But this is what it says: physical and mental ability that characterizes an athlete. Physical and mental. I want you to remember this. Physical and mental characteristics to be an athlete. Four of them they specified: strength, speed, agility, and endurance. Okay? Remember those four things, because this is what they gauge, or should gauge, athleticism on, if this is the definition of an athlete. Okay? Some people think that pro wrestling, they're not athletes. Well, I think they are. They think that NASCAR drivers aren't athletes. Well, I beg to differ with you. They are. But that's my opinion, mind you. It's just my opinion. That's my opinion. But anyway, they gauge that on strength, speed, agility, and endurance. Okay, all right. Now, let's look at, here is some that they lathered over, and they went on for years about how great an athlete they are, and when they first come in the NBA, some of them may be the face of the league. Anthony Davis, blue blood. You got to give Anthony Davis credit. UK player, you know, UK. Okay. All right. Now, going by these four things, okay? Strength, speed, agility, and endurance. Remember that. Remember that. Four things. We're gauging athleticism by these four things. Anthony Davis, in his career, has played 807 games. And in his 14-year career this year, not counting the 2026-27, this is just up to now, 1,148 games in his 14-year career, he's played 807. I understand the injury, okay? I understand. I'm an Anthony Davis fan. He played for UK, blue blood, SEC all the way, baby. But look, 807 games out of 1,148, but yet he is athletic, according to the journalist an analyst. He's athletic. Remember this. 4 things you gauge him on: strength, speed, agility, and endurance. Endurance. So one of them things is missing. Okay? Now I'm getting to the point I'm trying to make here. Zion Williams, extremely great basketball player. Very good. However, he was heavy. They went on about how heavy this dude was. Heavy. But they never said anything about him being slow. They just said he was, oh, can we say the word? Fat. Woo. Okay. Zion Williams, 7-year career. His regular games are 574. He has played 276. Out of them 574 games, he hasn't even played a half. But he's athletic. He's fast. He can jump. He can dunk. Oh my goodness, you know you're an athlete when you can dunk, right? Remember this. Endurance, one of them's missing. One of those 4 things, strength, okay, 2 of them. Strength, speed, agility, and endurance. Endurance is out the door with Anthony Davis, okay? Joel Embiid, great basketball player, terrific. Athlete, oh, one of the greatest athletes. You'll hear them going on about Joel Embiid and how athletic this man is. Well, am I to disagree with it? By going with these 4 things that make an athlete: strength, speed, agility, and endurance. Out of his 12-year career, that's 984 games, he played 494. He's injured. Okay, I understand he's injured. Okay, I understand injuries. But one of them things is missing: endurance. He's not able to endure because he's been hurt, which goes back to strength, so that makes 2. But he's still one of the top athletes of the NBA. Remember this. Here's some of the guys that I look at as being athletic. If I was to take athletic and go by the journalist way of looking at it, the top journalist for the NBA, and their definition of athleticism, this is who you might pick. And this is the guys that I watch just because I think, you think athletes, you think speed, that's the guys I watch. Kyrie Irving, big fan. He's another blue bud. Even though he's from Duke, he's another blue bud. He's, okay, there's that. James Harden, John Morant, another Kentucky basketball player, not from UK, but another school in Kentucky. Kyrie Leonard, Steph Curry, Patrick Beverly, and Dylan Brooks. These guys, I don't care much for their antics, but you got to hand it to them. I mean, they're like gnats. They're all over you. I mean, they're like a bowl of fruit with a little nets just flying all over the place. You can't do nothing with them. They're quick. They're fast. They're athletic. They're some of the athletics that's in the athletes. And Anthony Edwards is another one. Okay, another blue blood. Kentucky, SEC, baby. There's another one. They said that he is the premier athlete, a 2-way, that's offense and defense. Okay, again, I'm not NBA, I'm not real big on the NBA stuff. I'm going by what they say. This is what they say, and I'm cross-referencing it to the guy that they don't think is much of an athlete. Okay, just using their own thing is all. So again, Kyrie Irving, real quick, very good, very good. Even though he was a Duke player, we'll kind of look over there because he played for Dallas. I used to be a Dallas fan until something happened. But anyway, and then there's John Morant, very quick, very fast. He another guy from played for a Kentucky team, not UK, but still we're good with that. Kawhi Leonard, Steph Curry, Patrick Beverly, and Dylan Brooks. They're like little nets. I mean, there's just not much you can do with their quickness and their athleticism. But yet, there is one guy that's not much athletic. He's just not athletic. He's just not athletic. You'll hear him say it over and over and over and over and over, especially about a year and a half ago, how non-athletic this guy is, but yet there's nothing that those guys, that's like a little net, could do with the guy that they talked about how non-athletic he is. Still talking about it. Okay, New York Times come up. This is just four players that the New York Times come up with, the four top players. I don't know what particular time this was. I don't know if it was 2023, 24. I don't know if this year, but the New York Times gave four guys as their elite athletes. One of them was John Morant, and here's how they qualified him as a elite athlete. Remember the four things that I mentioned: agility, endurance, speed. What was the other one? Strength. Okay. Here's what they said about John Morant. New York Times. Current elite athletes. John Morant, number one. Speed and vertical jump. I guess that goes with agility. Okay? That's 2 of 4 that makes him an elite athlete, according to the New York Times. Anthony Edwards. Well, blue bud. Okay, we're good with that. Leaping, body control, physical power, which is, both physical, body control, physical, same thing. Strength. Leaping, that's agility, okay? That's 2 out of 4 that made him an elite athlete. Now, I know you're thinking, well, look at their score. Look what they did. Look at how their defense. I'm telling you, I'm going by what they consider athleticism, an elite athlete. And I just mentioned it to you. Didn't say anything about scoring. Nothing about that. It said his ability to be an elite athlete was leaping, body control, and physical power. Bam. 2 out of 4. Giannis Antetokounmpo, yeah, he good. He good. Absolutely. No doubt about it. But here's what they said to make him an elite athlete. To make him an elite athlete. Speed and wingspan. Okay, wingspan is not mentioned in those 4 characteristics to make you an athlete. Speed is. So he got 1 out of 4. These others got 2 out of 4. Okay. Zion Williams, another good one. Didn't even play half the games he's played in. Out of all his career, he ain't even played half the game. This is going by NBA analysis stuff now. Just telling you. Not me. Just my opinion. Zion Williams, here's what they said. Strength, speed, and leaping ability. So that would be come along with agility. So he got 3 out of 4. Okay, you got one that got 1 out of 4. This one got 3 out of 4. But yet he's a top, an elite, current elite athlete. That's what made them athletes and athletic. Those things right there. So each one of them has 3 to 2 missing. Okay. Now they said that Anthony Edwards was a 2-way player who's athletic, and he is. There's no doubt. I mean, if you watch him, he is. And in my opinion, Timberwolves should have gone farther than what they did. Now, I'm saying all this, I'm going to make a point here, and I want you to just think about this, because I know, you pick a player and you think, well, this player's the greatest ever was, and I'm going to say this about Jaylen Brown and Kyrie Irving. I'm a big fan of both of them because they stand up for what they believe in, no matter whether I agree with it or not. And the NBA don't like it. And I'm going to make a video about the MVP, and I'm going to agree with what Jaylen Brown said. I'm going to agree with what he said. But nevertheless, they said that Anthony Edwards is the premier athlete, 2-way player. That means defense, offense. Okay, now if you don't know who I'm talking about, and what I'm talking about is Luka Doncic. They talked about they got rid of him because he had no defense, and he was fat, and he was lazy, and he was slow. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you what NBA players have said on several broadcasts to some of these great and grand and high-paid NBA journalists said about Luka Doncic. They said it's around the league in the locker room. Let's just let Luka do what he wants to do. And then we'll go guard everybody else, because Luka's going to do whatever Luka wants to do, and there ain't nothing we can do about it. Players that played with him said the same thing. Players that play against him, they just walk away from him and tell another player, go guard him. I don't want to. As good as Kawhi Leonard is, he couldn't do anything with him. Patrick Beverly, like a net, I'm telling you. He's like a little net. He's fun to watch. I like to watch Steph Curry. Steph Curry gets people running behind him. He'll run, behind the goalpost and out of bounds and back in, and he'll have his guard running behind. Well, you can't guard somebody behind him. And as soon as he comes around and he gets the ball and puts it in, he's just fun to watch. He couldn't do anything with Luka. Draymond Green can't do nothing with Luka. Draymond Green said Luka's going to do whatever Luka wants to do. You know Draymond. I mean, he's one of the elite defenders. You can't do nothing with him. Okay? So we're going to compare Luka Doncic, who's slow and fat and non-athletic, to the premier two-way athlete. Anthony Edwards, this past season, 2024-25 past season, he got the MVP, played for the Timberwolves. In my opinion, the Timberwolves should have went farther than they did. But like I say, it's just my opinion. I think they got exceptional basketball players on their team. I think they're an exceptional team. He got MVP. That's overall MVP. That's another thing I'm going to talk about later on, is the MVP of the overall MVP, not just Eastern Western Conference. Luka got it for Western Conference, which he should have, okay? But here's the guy that got the overall, just simply because they won the championship. Now, again, I'm going to get into the MVP and who didn't win championships and who got it. Here's his stats. Points per game was 28.8. Luka was 33.5. So Luka outscored him every single game, stat-wise. Rebounds, Anthony Edwards got 5 rebounds a game. Luka got 7.7, which means on average he got more than 2 rebounds. Guard, both of them are guards. In my opinion, you should have your forwards and your center getting rebounds. That should be the guys getting rebounds, which I know they do. But I'm just saying, when your guards out rebound, your forwards and center, something wrong. But anyway. He got more than 2.5 rebounds on average per game. Guard, non-athletic, fat, slow. This guy. He's fat and slow. He's non-athletic. But yet, he out-rebounded the premier athlete. Wait, I ain't done yet. Assist. Anthony Edwards, playing with the Timberwolves, got 3.7 assists. That's his average. Luka got 8.3 assists. Now, I want you to think of this. Luka is playing for a team that they just got rid of practically everybody that he played with, because Luka said, I want shooters. Whenever I throw the ball, whenever I put the ball in somebody's hand, I want to be assured that I have a shooter to make that basket. And when that happens, his assist will go astronomical when he's got somebody who can actually shoot. Well, let's look at this. Compare the players that played for the Timberwolves that the Timberwolves got rid of, that Anthony Edwards had 3.7 assists with, to the players that the Lakers just got rid of, where Luka had 8.3 assists, and they got rid of Hashimura, LeBron, Smart, Ayton, Hayes, and, there's several others you're probably going to dump. But nevertheless, he got 5 more assists per game, stat-wise, per game, than the elite two-way player. But yet, he was fat, he was slow, and he's only a one-way player, they say. Now, let's look at the steals. Now, if you're an elite two-way player, that means you're a defensive guy, and you're going to be able to steal balls because that's part of your defense. In my opinion, part of the defense is rebounding too, so you can just take that one. In steals, Anthony Edwards got 1.4. That was his defensive, I'm going to take the ball away from you because I'm an elite two-way player, which he is. I'm not arguing with that. Luka got 1.6, so he got more steals than your elite two-way player. But yet, he's an elite athlete because, why? I don't know. But Luka's not. Why? Because he ain't fast. Because he don't defend? I don't know. Oh, well, yeah, Edwards, he dunks balls. That basketball, he dunks basketball. Well, so does Luka. But Luka's thing is, he can do it. He said, I choose not to. It's like I was telling my wife a while ago. You take a union job where a guy's a carpenter. He's not an operator. That's not his job. His job is to be a carpenter, not an operator. Non-union, they just do everything. But anyway, Luka said, that's not my job. It's not what I do. It's not my thing. I can do it. He's proved it. He showed it. He can do it. I mean, he's almost tall enough to stand tiptoe and just reach up and, look how tall the dude is. An extended arm. He's on. What's it take to get off the floor? 6 inches? Yes, he can. Don't say he can't because you're a liar. But he can. And sometimes he does. Just say, well, I showed you I can do it. So does that make him a great athlete because he can dunk a ball? He's lost in every category here. This elite two-way player has lost in every category when it comes to Luka Doncic, the fat guy that's slow. Okay? Now, all that being said, let me look at something else here. Here's Jaylen Brown. I like Jaylen Brown. I like him. I don't know him as a person, but he stands up for what he believes in. The NBA don't like it, just like Kyrie Irving. He stood up for what he believed in. They didn't like it. They tried to ostracize him. It's like they're doing Jaylen Brown right now. But nevertheless, here's Jaylen Brown. Okay? Won MVP for 2023-24. Jaylen Brown. Points per game was 28. Here's the slow fat guy that's non-athletic. They can't do much because he's just slow, but yet nobody can guard. Can't do nothing with. They know it. Okay? Luka had... Jaylen Brown 2023-24. Jaylen Brown had 23 points. He won MVP. Luka had 33.9. That's 10 more points per game, people. 10 more points per game. Jaylen Brown's rebounds was 5.5. Luka's was 9.2. Jaylen Brown's assist was 3.6. Luka's assist was 9.8. It's 2023-24. It's MVP for 2023-24. Here's the guy that got it for MVP because he's an outstanding athlete, which he is. I'm not arguing that. But because Luka's fat and slow, they say, according to them, he's non-athletic. But this non-athletic dude outscored by 10 more points, okay, per game, on average, per game, not just points, per game. He got out-rebounded. Jaylen got out-rebounded. Luka had 9.2 rebounds. He had 5.5, so he out-rebounded him. Guard, non-athletic guard, got the assist. Steals, Luka had 1.4. This elite athlete, which he is, I ain't arguing with that, had 1.2. So he got outscored. Luka's rebounded 6 more per game. Assist was 6 points per game. Luka outdone him. Steals, he outdone him. And blocks was the same. They had 0.5 blocks. Okay? So what is it exactly that these elite journalists Look at how they gauge an athlete. I want to know. Oh, because they can dunk, they run fast, they can dunk. Well, all the dunkers, okay, all the dunkers and all the fast NBA players has just got smoked. So what's that say about your athletes? If this non-athletic basketball player just smoked the best you got, what does that say? I'm just curious. Dallas said they wanted to get rid of him because he didn't have any. There was no defense. Luka didn't have no defense. Well, okay. Do you think maybe 9.2 rebounds would kind of go along the defense because he's running after the ball and grabbing it? You know, he's not just standing around like some of them do. Assist, okay, that would be on the offense because he's got the ball, he throws it, they have to try to make it. Again, he had more assists than the top athletes that the New York Times picked than Jaylen Brown, which Jaylen Brown's good. Got to give the man credit. I'm not saying anything against him. I'm just saying I'm comparing him to a slow, fat guy. Okay? That the year that he won MVP, what Luka did and what he did. I'm just going by their own stats. Just, well, they always go by stats. Well, I don't know what else they go by because they can't go by athleticism because if they went by athleticism and the definition of athleticism, well, I just read to you the three that they talked about a whole lot. He just smoked them. And they're centers. They're centers. And he just smoked them. Well, the guard does the guard thing. Yeah. And he does the center thing and the forward thing. Okay? So, the Dallas Mavericks got rid of Luka because they said he was too fat, he was lazy, and he never had no defense. Well, again, steals and blocks. I'm going to say rebound, steals, and blocks is defense. That's the way I'm going to see it. I mean, offense ain't rebounds. That to me, that's defense. Okay? Because the opponents, well, even the offense, they'll miss some. He gets his rebound. Okay? Well, he's defending. He's blocking out somebody to get the rebound. He gets a rebound. He got more rebound. Is that non-athletic because he got more? Is it because he can't run, the quarter mile in 13 seconds, like a small block forward or something? I don't know. You tell me. I don't know. Can a small block forward run the low 13? Well, but anyway, I'm just saying. I mean, you gauge him on his speed, how fast he runs, but the fastest that you got in the NBA can't do anything with him. They can't guard him. But yet he's slow. Okay, they said he was fat and lazy. The year that they got rid of him, in that year that they got rid of him, here's his stats. 33.9 points per game. 9.2 rebounds. 9.8 rebounds. 1.4 steals and 0.5 blocks. But we can't have him. Won the Western Conference Final. Led that team to the Western Conference final, and they got rid of him because they said he was fat. I got a question. Here's what I want somebody to do. I want somebody to look through the archives of the NBA, and you take Shaq and Charles Barkley. They're both big old boys. They big bruisers. They big guys. You take Shaq and Charles Barkley, and I want you to send me a link, do something, just show me where they talked about how big and heavy and non-athletic they was. Anybody, somebody, anybody. I don't care who does it, just somebody do it. Just show me where they were talking about how non-athletic. Shaq couldn't hit a free throw. He even said it. He laughed about it all the time. And they. I know that's not got nothing to do with quickness or what size you are, but I'm just saying, one of the best in the league, one of the probably, I don't know, maybe the best big guy in the league, couldn't make a free throw. And I don't know whatever Luka Doncic makes in free throws. He's what, 70, 80, 90%. I don't know. He's way up there. At least he can hit a free throw. He might be slow, but he can hit a free throw. He might be non-athletic, whatever that means. I'm still waiting for somebody to explain that to me, because I just read what it was to be athletic. Strength, speed, agility, and endurance. Okay, then it says mental and physical. Okay, look at all these guys that these top athletes that haven't played. They haven't played hardly a single. They haven't played a single season. Half the games they even play. They can't. I know they're injury. Well, that comes back within strength and endurance. Okay, you can't help but get in. But still, what I'm saying is they keep talking about how athletic they are, and I agree. Okay, I agree. They're athletic. What does that mean? What does being a top athlete mean? When you get outscored, out-rebounded, out-assisted, out-blocked, out-stole, what does it mean to be the top athlete? What is athleticism in the NBA anymore? Because they don't know, they can't tell you. Because dummy me, I'm not one of the top analysis for the NBA, but I just showed you that by their own words they're condemned, because physical and mental. They talk about how his IQ is. I've heard these guys talk about, these guys that sit at the scoring table, and they talk about how high IQ that Luka is. He can, when he goes down the floor, he goes down the floor. Okay, he don't run at 900 miles an hour. Luka's job is you get everybody in position. Luka's job is to call plays. That's what he does. To make shots. And I'll guarantee you that's what he does. Okay, his job really didn't, it's not his job to rebound. It's not his specific job. That's the forward and centers, especially the center. That's your big guy. He should be getting the rebounds, okay? Assist, okay, I'll go along with that. He's shooting guard. He's a guard. He's got the ball in his hands. He should be able to send it to somebody and shoot. He had more assists with the team they got rid of. Think about this, people. Think about what I just said. The dude had more assists with the team they got rid of because he's wanting shooters. Okay. Strength, speed, agility, and endurance. Okay, if speed eliminates Luka from being a top athlete, what does that say about the others I just read about that's missing 2 to 3 of these same qualifications or characteristics that makes you an athlete? Are they talking about people that lift a lot of weights and are bodybuilders? I know people that has more core strength than bodybuilders. So that, what's that? You muscle up, man. You got to be muscle up. You got to be buff. That's not Luka. That's not Luka. He's not a bodybuilder. He's a basketball player. Because they muscle up. Okay, you muscle up, you get stiff. Your muscles are stiff. You don't have the agility that you really need. I'm just saying. The fat boy got more agility. I didn't say that. I'm just saying. Strength, speed, agility, and endurance. Okay, how many games has Luka actually missed in his career in the NBA? Not many. Yeah, he's had injuries. He's missed some. Okay, I agree with that. He's missed some, but not like some of these, not like Anthony Davis, Zion Williams, Joel Embiid, some of these other players that they talk about is the greatest athletes on earth, and they keep looking for a face for the NBA. They're not going to pick Luka, and I'm going to tell you why. He's a European player, and probably whenever his basketball career is over, he may not be like Dirk Nowitzki and stay here. I'll look for him to go back to the country that he came from. And if things keep going like they are, it wouldn't surprise me if he didn't play out his contract and left. He's got a target on his back, and uh, so I'm just saying. I want somebody to explain. Put it in a comment. Comment what is it that the NBA looks as athleticism? Just because you're quick and you can dunk, is that it? Well, being slow and fat, I guess, and outdoing their best in every category. Every category. Think about that. He's the best in every category. Okay, so he tied with one of them in blocks. Okay. So, what is athleticism? What's being a great athlete? What is it? What makes it? What in the NBA? What analyst can actually sit down, and I've listened to this over and over and over. He's non-athletic. He's slow, and they talk about you see these ones like, I don't know, John Morant talking about how athletic he was. Well, they was wanting to look for him to be the face of the league. Well, that didn't work out. Look how that worked out. They wanted Zion Williams. They expected him to be the face of the league. Well, he ain't even in the league half the time, not playing. That didn't work out. Okay, Anthony Edwards, they talked about him being the face of the league. Well, that didn't work out. You know why? Because Jaylen Brown showed up. And now because he stood his ground and he's got his own opinions and his own thoughts, they don't like that. You got to go along with everything we tell you, or we're going to ostracize you, and we're going to make sure we're going to see if we can't root you out. That's my opinion. Just watch what happens. Okay, so looking at the past season that Luka had and the players that he had, and I can't really say that all these guys that they just got rid of was bad. They're in the NBA. I mean, that's like NASCAR drivers. The very slowest guy is still in NASCAR. And you got to be elite to be in those 42 teams. You got to have an elite team. You got to have the guys that back. Of course, you got to have the money that backs you too. I used to be a NASCAR fan until they got into this stupidity stuff. But anyway, that was my thing, NASCAR and NHRA. But when you start getting stupid, you lose fans. But anyway, you got to be good to be in. You got to be good to be in. You got to be an athlete to be in. And I don't care how they try to spin it. I don't care how they try to talk about it. I don't care how they try to ostracize it and how bad they try to make you look. Because he's a European player, I'm telling you, because he's a European player, he'll never be the face of the league. Especially if his intentions is leaving here. Because they want somebody to be the face of the league that they can build up and they can brag about. Look how good they are. And you always hear this stupid stuff. Look how athletic they are. Look at that dunk. Watch them. Sends people out of their seats and out of their chairs because they dunked the basketball. Well, if you are in the NBA and you can't dunk, there's something bad wrong with you. I mean, you get these people, the average 6'6", and their arms are like 3 foot tall. It makes you 6'9". You got a 10-foot rim. I mean, really? Oh, Luka Doncic can't dunk. Yeah, he can. He just don't. That's not his thing. His thing's perimeter shooter, mid-range shooter. That's what he does. You're looking for numbers. That's what he's looking for. Somebody he can lob to. Somebody he can stay on the outside. So if there is a ball that is shot by him that somebody else gets the rebound on, he's the first guy that's closest to the center of the floor that can help stop the offense. Now, he's non-athletic. He can't do that. Well, people, come on now. Seriously? Do you really think people are that dumb? Really? He's not athletic, but yet he's outdone everybody in every category. But Compare him, guard to guard, any basketball player in the league. They hate to say it. They hate to say it. Luka outscored anybody in the NBA. He led the NBA this past year, 2,143 total points is what he scored. For a fat, unathletic man in Los Angeles that just got rid of the team that he played with. Then what's that say about everybody else? If he's that bad, then what's that say about everybody else? Okay, my next thing is MVP, but we'll talk about that later. Okay, just an old man spending money. That's all. Do your thing. Subscribe, like, do your thing.